Good morning and welcome to another episode of Josh and Pat. I'm Joshua Klein, joined by Patrick Cassett, and Jimmy Butler has single-handedly destroyed Boston. Now, as you all remember, it's been a tough year for Boston sports. Kind of a tough year because they did have the greatest NHL team of all time, allegedly. But the Celtics got murdered by the Heat last night, and now the question has to be asked, is Jimmy Butler actually Michael Jordan's son? Patrick.
Well, it's tough because the Boston Celtics, if you ask them coming into this playoffs, they didn't expect to go up against the second coming of Michael Jordan, possibly his own blood, his own relative. It's not fair for the Celtics. I think we run it back, we redo the series. Celtics, hey, maybe they just come back, win it in Game 7.
Well, that is a possibility. Now, has it ever been done in the history of the NBA? No, but crazy enough, it's actually going to happen now twice in the same playoff run because obviously Lakers will also come back, and this Lakers-Celtics final will be historic. But I'll tell you what, Patrick, the Celtics had nothing for the Heat last night. It was brutal. I mean, it was 30 points. Consistently
30 points.
The whole second half.
And you only got 5 minutes from Kevin Love. And if we know anything about Kevin Love, we know that every single time he makes the playoffs, you're guaranteed to make the NBA Finals.
Crazy that he's still playing right now. That was I did forget about him for a second. And good for Kevin Love being in there and playing still at a high level.
Now my question,
his 5 minutes, Great 5 minutes.
Great 5 minutes. Superb 5 minutes. I mean, he put up some points. He shot 100% from the 3-point line, and he added a couple rebounds. But, Josh, my question is how quickly does Joe Mazzulla get fired after this season for the Boston Celtics? Because it is very clear. Homeboy is getting out-coached every single night.
Well, Patrick, they just signed an extension for him. Clearly, this is the direction they want to see his future. They knew what they were going to get when they signed this guy. They said they did their due diligence. They saw what they saw in his 1 year coaching. They said
not even 1 year coaching.
1 year. They said that is the kind of coaching that we want for the future of this franchise. And so they wanted to lock him down. So good for him. If I had to guess, I don't even know if he'll need to be fired. I think once the plane lands back in Boston, I think the mob's going to take care of him.
Oh, it'll just step down,
or maybe
he's
just going to be disappeared. He might. I'm not saying I want it to happen.
Congrats to the Boston Celtics for locking up long-term deal to Joe Mazzulla before they ever saw him coach a playoff game.
Yep.
Hey, if we know anything about Boston sports, they do it the right way up there, and it looks like it's paying dividends because I'm sure ESPN's probably still got him about 50% chance to come back, win this series.
Maybe a little bit more than 50%. Let's be real. Magic Johnson, though, he was not happy with how the Celtics played. He said they just gave up.
He said, in my 44 years of being associated with the NBA, I never thought I'd see a Boston Celtics team, a franchise with 17 championships, quit. I know Celtics fans all over the world must be disgusted and devastated. The Miami Heat blew them out 128-102 in Game 3. Thanks for the update, Magic.
Thank you, Magic. Shout out new owner of the Commanders.
Hey, Magic, aren't the Lakers down 3-0 too?
Well, different situation here.
I guess they didn't quit.
They didn't quit. They're fighting till the end. LeBron James has that fight in him. They're going to keep going. So no, it's very different, Patrick. But good for Jimmy Butler and the Heat. Again, I mean it just feels like there's just 100% chance that Jimmy Butler is Michael Jordan's son, and I know that's been a conspiracy that's happened on the internet for a while, but I feel like it needs to be readdressed as we're now watching him single-handedly destroy an entire. Not just franchises, an entire city. I would say maybe the whole New England area.
Yeah, that New England metropolitan area because, look, Patriots, they've seen better days. The Bruins, we're not going to talk about it. The Celtics, New England Revolution. Don't think they're playing very well. Boston Red Sox, Josh, they've seen their better days.
Well, they're also playing AL East. They have a very tough time.
What?
They might be in first place in like a lot of.
They've seen better days.
They've seen better days, though.
They've seen better days. So. Shout out to Jimmy Butler.
Good job, Jimmy. Cool. Moving on. Brooks Koepka representing the LIV Tour. Now, as you guys all know, the LIV Tour was a tour that was founded about, I guess, 2 years ago.
Year ago.
And they took a lot of guys. They poached a lot of PGA Tour guys. And for the LIV guys, obviously the reason that they went over was they are pioneers. They said they saw the challenge of starting a new league, and that was the sole motivation for them to go, hey, we're gonna go and we're gonna try to start this new league, and we're gonna revolutionize the sport of golf.
Well, right, and LIV was sending out, invitation to players like college frat kids sliding into girls' DMs. I mean, they were going to everyone and everywhere, but the response rate wasn't as high as they wanted it to be.
Yes, but so you still get a core group of guys that go over because they are true innovators and pioneers in the sport of golf.
Mm-hmm.
PGA Tour did not like this at all.
Turns out not big fans of another tour.
Not big fans of, this was XFL on steroids here. But then what has ended up happening since LIV Tour guys are playing very well. And
turns out they can still play golf.
That they had to play with the PGA Tour. And I'm going to be honest with you, not looking good for the PGA Tour, because now I'm wondering, is the LIV Tour the premier
superior
golf tour in the world?
Because I'm looking at this, Josh.
Phil Mickelson,
T2 at the Masters. With Brooks Koepka, T2 at the Masters. PGA Championship. Who wins it? Brooks Koepka, LIV Star.
Yeah.
Look, PGA Tour on the hot seat here this morning.
It's tight. PGA Tour, you got to figure out your stuff. You got to fix some things, because right now you're getting embarrassed. I might go get, a LIV jersey.
A LIV jersey, because we know how big the golf jerseys are in this market. Really expanding the brand. Josh, yeah. I don't know if there's anyone that had a worse weekend this weekend than PGA Tour Commissioner Jay Monahan, because he single-handedly banned all of these players, and then his own Twitter account had to tweet out, Brooks Koepka has won the 2023 PGA Championship.
Yeah. Well, was Block, is he PGA guy?
He's a PGA professional. You can get a lesson with him. PGA professional. He Cinderella story of the week.
Yeah, Block hit a hole-in-one on 14, 15.
It's the hole-in-one on 15. Comes back. T15, he gets invited back to the PGA Championship next year. He is basically single-handedly, in the last 30 to 40 years, the best PGA professional to ever play in the PGA Championship.
Hey, good for him.
So
good for Block. Cinderella story that the PGA Tour desperately needed. So that's good. Speaking of Cinderella stories, Patrick, Manchester City wins the Premier League, and this was something that I think we all saw coming. This is a three-peat for them. They were, some are saying, the greatest Premier League team of all time.
Josh, look at the table. Have we seen a discrepancy in the table like that in a long time? Man City, they were absolutely dominating the competition here in the Premier League this year.
It was ridiculous. Now, some are going to bring up maybe that they have
maybe a couple
100 accusations of cheating, and that if found that guilty, helps. They will could face expulsion from the league.
Yeah, but they put the team together, Josh.
They did what they had to do to win, and this is actually a very tough spot for the Premier League, because if the Premier League decides to discipline or say, okay, just say, Patrick, run with me for a second.
I'm running with you here.
Say somehow, I mean, in the crazy world, they are actually guilty of 100 crimes.
Wait, you're telling me there's
of cheating.
Of the one of at least one of the 100 counts they're guilty of.
Yes, maybe one or more. Maybe so. I'm just throwing it out there. This is hypothetical world. Mm-hmm. They are guilty of maybe one or more. Of
the 100 plus.
Of the 100 plus. Yes.
I got you. I'm running with you, Josh.
Okay. And then the Premier League goes, well, we have no choice but to expel you from the league for whatever, maybe let's just say like a year.
Yeah, it turns out you can cheat, but maybe not 100 times.
Maybe not 100 times. And so then the Premier League, or then Manchester City goes, okay, well, guess what? Manchester City has bills to pay. They can't not play in the Premier League for a year. So what do? They're like, well, we got to play in some league. And they create the Super League. Mm-hmm. Yes, the same league that they were in cahoots with potentially starting years ago. Is this going to be the cookie that has to crumble for them to make the Super League? And if so, that's the worst thing for the Premier League? Is that why the Premier League hasn't done anything about these like literally 100 accusations of cheating?
Because let's not forget, Real Madrid, other teams, they still have yet to officially drop the Super League. They're ready to go. They're just trying to get the boys back together, get them back on the train. Hey, you tell me Man City's in?
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. But Josh, that's not going to happen. There's no way they cheat it. There's no way.
No, you're right. That's a far-fetched situation right there. But I will say that if it was true, that's what could happen. So we'll see what happens. But hey, shout out Manchester City, 3-peat champions,
a dynasty,
a dynasty, and it's good. Hey, as a Man City backer, this feels good.
Hey, it turns out money can buy you championships.
Shout out De Bruyne. Shout out Haaland. My guys.
But does this championship have an asterisk? Not
at all.
Not because of the allegations, but because there's no playoffs. We all know that the best teams show up in the playoffs.
You're right.
And Manchester City doesn't have the opportunity. But if they're able to go to a league like the Super League, they could have an opportunity to thrive in the playoffs and truly win a good ring.
The Bruins, they're so upset right now.
They're going, we're in the wrong league.
We're in the wrong league. Bruins to the Champions League for sure. Moving on, big news. NASCAR All-Star Race happened this week. Now, this is one of the few shows that the third story is going to be a NASCAR story, and that's the kind of show this is. So if you don't like it, get used to the program, pal. But the NASCAR All-Star Race took place at Wilkesboro, which was previously just an abandoned track in the middle of nowhere, Tennessee, or North Carolina.
North Carolina.
Boom. There you go. And Dale Jr. said, hey, we're going to revitalize this thing. We're going to make it good. They come back, and it was basically just watching Kyle Larson lead by anywhere from 4 to 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it turns out Kyle Larson's a pretty good race car driver. He can drive pretty well, and we learned that again last night.
Yeah, and this is now his third All-Star win out of the last 5. Chastain did not wreck anybody.
Shocker.
He was very conservative. And the broadcast, they were kind of taking shots there. He was racing hard for like 10th place.
10th place with 4 laps to go.
The guy goes, you wouldn't wreck somebody for 10th place, would you?
It's like, well, clearly not.
Come on, dude. You need to chill. That was an unnecessary shot at Chastain. And the fact that he said that makes me say nobody has any faith in Chastain right now, which I feel,
Well, a lot of people are going to be online this morning, last night, saying, what a dud. What a boring race at North Wilkes-Barre. You put in all this hype to come back, and there's basically no cautions. It's a very boring race.
I mean, they had tires that they could have put on at the end of the race there. Just never even needed to.
It wasn't an option, really. There wasn't a caution. They couldn't do too much. So, Josh, how do we fix the NASCAR All-Star race?
Well, there's a few options, Patrick, but I think you have one that might be exciting.
Okay, so
wait, for illustration.
For illustration, yes. So think about this. NASCAR travels to many different types of tracks. They go road courses, super speedways, mile and a half, short tracks. But what is the one NASCAR course that they have yet to do? With this, there are two options. One involving elevation and one involving strategy. There's only one answer to the NASCAR All-Star race, and it's to race it on a figure 8.
Figure 8. Now, listen, Patrick, this is a genius idea, and I know people immediately are turning off their brains to this idea, and maybe it's because it would be the most dangerous thing of all time. Maybe, but if you do it the right way, I think you could do it safe.
Well, because, NASCAR are all about the safety. So you got two options here, Josh. We put it in a red light, green light situation.
Yeah.
Where it's a stop sign. You stop there at the figure 8, and it's a stop and go, just like in real society.
Yeah. And you can choose whether to go or not. It's your risk.
It's your risk. There's no penalty if you don't stop. It's one of those. It's like, hey, it's just advice.
It's like a back road stop sign.
Exactly. It's optional. It is an option,
but not like a nice back road, maybe a really not even paved back road.
Mm-hmm. It's still got the gravel road, right? It's
like that stop sign was maybe put up by the owner. It wasn't even put up by the state.
Mm-hmm. Option number 2, we put a ramp in the middle of the track. Perfect. It's this way you avoid the wrecks that could possibly happen while adding some air. To my knowledge, this would be one of the first times that NASCAR would ever have some cars on purpose go airborne.
I mean, that would be the coolest thing of all time, Patrick. And I know this is an outlandish thing. It's just anything. The All-Star, that was just such a bad race. I mean, it was just so uneventful. And if you liked watching Kyle Larson lead by a very long distance, then it was a great race.
Great race for you.
A great race for you. Yeah. You had a great time. For most people, I mean, I'm happy for Kyle Larson. I was pulling for him, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he was your pick to win. He was
my pick to win. And is he going to go on a historic run here? Maybe.
Possibly.
Run the table? Probably. Possibly. We're not saying it's not going to happen, but it was tough. And so something could maybe spice it up a little bit. But we'll see what happens there.
We'll take our ideas in NASCAR. We'll see if they listen.
Yeah, NASCAR, they're not very good at responding to me. I've reached out.
On LinkedIn?
I've reached out. I've had people respond to me, but just no.
It's hard to set up the meeting.
No responses.
Apparently tough to get a hold of NASCAR. It's unfortunate.
It's tough. Cool. Moving on. Hockey. Vegas takes the series to 2-0. So now we got Vegas 2-0, Panthers 2-0. It feels like between hockey and basketball, we're just going to have 4 sweeps.
It's Sweep City. You know what's not good for your brand? Not playing more games.
I mean, if between hockey and basketball, we play the minimum number of games in the to go to the final,
not good for business.
Not great for business. Adam Silver is he's upset right now. I saw him talking to Bob Iger at the Lakers game.
He tried everything the other night. He sent in Scott Foster.
Scott Foster was doing his thing.
And it wasn't enough to get
LeBron James also checked Scott Foster, and he made it seem like it was an accident, but was it?
Is it time to ask, would this Lakers team be better with LeBron James or Bronny James on it right now?
Well, as much as I want to go with the bet, unfortunately, I don't even think Bronny James is going to make the league. So, sorry, Bronny. Hey, if you make the league, though,
he will make the league.
Oh, because they want to get LeBron.
They want to get LeBron.
Fair. Cool. So hockey, I guess good things happening in hockey. Panthers up 2-0. They're going to win the rights to be the Hurricanes. So that's pretty cool.
It's huge.
And last story on the sheet, Patrick, the Mets are back. Now, we talked about this in the beginning of the season. We were ahead of the game. We said Steve Cohen doing what he needs to do to get this team to win. He was paying everybody, and now it's finally coming together. It's like you ever see? It's like Moneyball, okay? Athletics. They put together the team. It didn't work at first.
It didn't,
but they stuck to it, and they won a World Series. So
they didn't. They did not win.
And they almost won a World Series.
They did. They did not win a World Series. That's the unfortunate part. But they almost won a World Series. And where are the Mets trying to get? To almost a World Series.
Boom. And I think it might happen.
Hey, but it turns out that money can buy you a really, really decent team. And hey,
I don't know why more teams aren't doing this.
Right. It's almost like there's a formula. It's like if you spend more money, you can probably get better players.
Yeah.
Not the whole league hasn't bought in on that yet.
We'll get there.
But hey, Mets.
We'll get there.
Mets, they're only behind the Atlanta Braves, who have the best record in the NL. So
if we know anything, they're the second best team, right?
Second best team in the NL, the New York Mets. They are back. Congratulations to them.
Congratulations. Cool. Well, that's the show. Make sure you guys, first of all, DM us on Instagram at Pancakes and Pancakes. You can win not only a mug. You not can win. You will win.
You will win.
You will win. And you'll also get a $10 McDonald's gift card.
So one of these days,
somebody's going to take it. And this is a shorter episode. So if there ever was a day that you might be able to win, it's
today's the day.
Right? And then also go to picksandpancakes.com to read everything that's happening in sports. I'll see you guys Friday. Hey, let's have a great week.
Let's do it. Good Monday. Happy Monday.
Good Monday.
Good Monday.
Hashtag Good Monday. Trending on Twitter. Or hashtag Monday morning. Or there's a lot. Yeah. Anyway, a peace.